Welcome to the Witchy Work Wishes podcast, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. Welcome to Witchy Work Wishes. I am your host, Charlene, and today's episode is all about the number 13. And not just the number 13, but the rare times the 13th falls on a Friday. Because guess what? It's happening, and it's happening this week. But first, I'd like to share some things I did over the weekend to help with my own personal practice. And I would love to tell you I did lots of fun spells, had lots of witchy vibes, but no. I was a big baby over the weekend. Well, kind of. Remember that big health journey that I said I'm starting in November? Well, it's not just a health journey. It's a medical procedure that's going to help with my health. And there are all of these things that, of course, need to be done before I can actually schedule the surgery. And, while I've checked the box on all of the procedural stuff, my coffee addiction was held to the very end. And even then, the consequences of caffeine withdrawal were severe and still are. Now, I even cut back, really. I promise I did. I didn't just go cold turkey. I started the waning process a good 6 weeks ago. And I thought I was having 5 cups of coffee because that's what my nice little coffee cup holds. But no, my coffee cup was a 16-ounce mug. So actually, I needed to cut back from 10 cups plus a day. And I did. I started the weaning process and I actually got myself down to 4 cups. But then I realized last weekend what the timeline was, and I really needed to rip the Band-Aid off so I could be fully detoxed before surgery. Now, if you look up what the typical period is for a caffeine detox, they say, it's roughly 3 to 7 days, possibly up to 10. Well, I stripped myself of caffeine on a waning moon, which was right. And I started the absolutely no coffee on Sunday, the 1st of October. Now, I can tell you with all honesty that the headaches I have had since then have been intense. Really, I think they're more like migraines. The Tylenol, the Advil, honestly, I was switching back and forth at some points. That didn't even help. And I feel like I got sick. And not like the flu sick, but it felt near the same. The rush of blood that was going to my head and continued to rush to my head from my nice little capillaries now expanding was so very painful. And it created a whole bunch of collateral damage, like the sniffles and painful earaches and all this stuff. So that's me complaining. Done. I am still feeling the withdrawals, and it is 9 days later. So I'm better. No doubt I'm better, but they are still there. Now, the silver lining with this is I do not think I would have been able to get through the caffeine detox in time if I had not started it on the 1st. So it is what it is, right? It had to be done. And I am following the surgeon's instructions to a T because I am so totally vested in my new journey, this next step. Now, you may ask what I have been consuming each and every morning in place of coffee. Well, it is a freshly squeezed lemon, lots and lots of hot water, a little bit of local honey, and a splash of cinnamon. And while my body does not feel great yet, I'm still detoxing. I know my body will be happy with the changes. She just doesn't know it yet. Now, in the midst of detoxing and being extremely grumpy, I had to do a bunch of reorganizing in my home over the weekend to get ready for the holidays. And yes, I know it is a tad early, but I won't be able to do a bunch of it after surgery, so I'm jumping on as much of it as I can prior to the downtime. And like many of you, this is my time of year. I love everything about the fall and winter. Now, luckily, that motivation kicked in over the Advil and Tylenol foggy haze stupor that I was in battling the headaches. But I made really, really good progress, and I'm very proud of myself for all of the work, especially the home office desk that was built, organized, and used right away. Now, a fun part over the weekend was doing another round of edits on my 2024 planner. And I love using a planner. I have both a digital one and a paper one for home stuff. So I love using planners. I love being organized. I love to-do lists, that whole process. So this Witchy Work Wishes planner really is set for the working witch just like me. I am super excited to get the final draft out, done, and publish it. Now I do have one more thing to add before we jump into the podcast. You know how I always talk about my crows, right? And normally they are waiting for me to come home on the telephone wire above my backyard. But tonight, and it's Monday when I'm taping this, I came home and I stopped at the gate like I normally do. And as the gate was opening, I looked to my left and saw one of the crows right there waiting for me. Now, again, normally they're all waiting, not all of them, but a good handful of them are waiting on the telephone wire above my backyard. And then, I park my car, walk in, I always go in through the back, and they're all kind of there. And I say, hello, love bugs, hi bugs. So the fact that one was right there, and it's a little bit of a drive, but the one was right there at the gate. Oh my gosh. I rolled down my window and I said, hi, love bug. Now, I've ended up calling all of them bugs, love bugs. So the name is a tad bit universal with anyone in this family, flock or murder. But it was honestly the coolest thing to have him or her there. And as I drove back to my home, the crow came to the normal spot with the other crows on the wire. And of course, I rewarded immediately with peanuts. All right, let's jump into things for this week. I'm not going to do a big moon thing that I normally do before the podcast, only because we're going to be talking about the moon in the podcast. There's so much energy to navigate through over the next couple of days. It's not only Friday the 13th, it's also a dark moon on a Friday. It is an eclipse and new moon on Saturday. So let's be ready for it all. Here we go. Friday the 13th. It's just 2 days away, and I wanted to give everyone the power and inspiration to make this Friday amazing. Because we have a lot of energy that's coming at us, a lot that we can pull and use on the 13th, and not just the 13th, but honestly the weekend too, both the 14th and the 15th. Now, if you have been following along with previous episodes, we have a pretty good foundation for this day already. We talked about the 13 moon cycles that we get each year and how they directly match up to a woman's natural cycle. We also have 13 of them each year during our fertile years. We talked about the number 13 being inherently feminine, and it is. Now, the combo of the number 13 and that it is falling on a Friday, Freya's Day, gives us some incredible energy that we get to work with. Now, I can't help but think of the old infomercials here when I want to say, but wait, there's more. But there actually is. There's more. Okay, so Freya's number is actually 13. So when we get a Friday the 13th, her power is radiating everywhere. Her energy, her power, it's all about witchcraft, love, and war. We've got more. We are also going to have a dark moon on Friday. And hold tight. Guess what? There's an eclipse on Saturday with the new moon rising. I know. Take a deep breath. Breathe in and stay with me as long as you can on this episode. How about we break it down? Let's break it down and then put it into something that is manageable, okay? Let's first start with Friday, just general Friday. What is the energy and feelings that come with Fridays? Friday is all about the planet Venus. And Venus is very bright and it is very shiny. It's the second planet from the sun, and it actually reflects back more than 70% of the sunlight that it receives. Now, Venus does not have any moons, nor any rings around it, but it does have a bunch of volcanoes on the planet, so it is very, very hot, like hot enough to melt lead. The signs of Libra and Taurus contribute to the energy of Fridays. We know the Taurus sign brings loyalty, responsibility, romance. Taurus is a strong sign that is practical, patient, and persistent. And Libra, well, the first thing I think about is balance. And if you know a Libra, even better, love one, like I do, you know how important balance is to them. And guess what season it is right now? Yeah, it's Libra season. It is all about balance right now. Harmony and justice is also something that brings the Libra sign happiness. They have a wonderful sense of relating to others and a level of charm that really is unique just to them. So if we, tangle up all of the Taurus energy and all of the Libra energy, we have our Fridays. So that's a good overall picture of Fridays in general. Let's move on to the number 13 next. I know there are a bunch of directions we can go with this one, so let's do some general ones first. Numerology, of course, right? 13 is all about focus. A lot of cultures, We'll look at the number 13 to be inherently lucky, like with the Italians, right? And some believe it to be unlucky, like the Japanese do. 13, the number 13 actually gets reduced to the number 4. So in breaking things down, we have the 1 and the 3 together for the reduction. The number 13, though, is all about independence, creativity, secure future, and diligence. Now, on the religious side, if you lean more towards the new religions and the singular masculine God, the number 13, according to Stephen Gola, is in one of his articles back in 2008, is one of great blessings given by God. He refers to Genesis 16, 15, 17, and says, at 99 years old, God's promise came. At 86 years old, Abraham tried to bring about God's promise. 13 years between the promise given and the promise manifested. Therefore, 99 minus 86 equals 13. This is the number of promise. The number 13 promise is a twofold promise. It always involves man, and it always involves God. It always has seasons, times, and circumstances in which God and man participate. Now, if you look up angel numbers, the number 13 is all about relationships and love. And here the 1 and the 3 are the ones that have combined energy. So the 1 is all about new beginnings. It's about passion and inspiration. The number 3 is all about ascended masters. So with angel numbers, 13 is strongly tied to a new chapter beginning. Now in tarot, the 13th card in tarot is death, and this is a major card. Now death does not always mean physically dying. We know this, right? Now for most of us, we know this more to be a suggestion of transformation, of cycles, rebirth, and so on. Now, if you follow the right side or downside, the right side up, or if it's reversed of card placement, then there are 2 possible meanings. Right side up is all about transformation, but pulling it downside can signify disaster of some type. So did you actually know that there is a name for someone who is superstitious about the number 13? I know I'm not going to pronounce it right, but it's triskaidekaphobia? Triskaidekaphobia? All right, but there's a name for it. So if you are superstitious, you have other people and you are put into a little group called triskaidekaphobia. Now, what I follow? The divine feminine. With the number 13, this is really what I naturally connect to. For me, it's all about empowerment, about creativity, about manifestations, influences, affirmations, the birth, the cycles, the death. It's about the 13 moon cycles, and it's really about the 13 feminine cycles that happen each year. Okay, so now we got some data on Friday, and we've got some data on the number 13. Let's jump over to Freya and her energy, since Friday is her day. Now, Freya is the Norse goddess of love, beauty, fertility, of war and battle, and abundance and witchcraft. Freya travels on a beautiful chariot led by 2 cats. Now, it's said after the cats have served her for 7 years, she thanks them and rewards them by transforming them into witches. Freya wears a Brisingamen necklace and a coat of falcon feathers, and she's accompanied by her boar, Hildsvini, who is a Vanir archer and Freya's advisor. Her cloak of falcon feathers actually allows her to shapeshift into a bird. Now, her name translates to lady, and she is a member of the Norse god pantheon called the Vanir. Freya grants magic to help with spell work and is said to have taught the art of magic to Odin, the Allfather. She is known to come when warriors are dying and takes half of the strongest fighters to her own court, Folkvanger, when they die. And the word Folkvang basically means the army place. Now, the other half will go to Odin's court in Valhalla. Friday is her day, and the number 13 is her number. So when a day like, this coming Friday happens, I would say watch out. You will have Freya's power and energy amplified, as Friday the 13th is widely considered the day of the divine feminine. Quickly going back to the church and witchcraft and cats, after the church started their quest to convert pagans to Christianity, Freya became the queen of witches. And in the Dark Ages, if the church found anyone still worshiping Freya or devoted to her, they were automatically accused of witchcraft and hunted down. So I mentioned before that I have never been a religious person. And while my spirituality level has increased tremendously over the past 5 or 6 years, it's still pretty hard for me to connect to the gods and goddesses and do a bunch of deity work. Now, I do naturally gravitate to Freya. And actually, I gravitate to Freya, Hestia, Selene, Morgan, and Odin. But, I'm letting things come to me a bit more organically, a little naturally. I'm not trying to force anything, and I do think when the time is right, working with the gods and goddesses will happen if it's meant to be. So Freya is about ancient magic. Actually, an Old Norse Iron Age type magic called Seidr, Seidr, which is all about reading and or telling the future and shaping it. So Freya is known to have taught this magic to Odin and the Aesir. I believe Seidr translates from German or Celtic over to English as sorcery. All right, let's keep moving. We have Friday, we have the number 13, and we have Freya, which really is honestly our core for this Friday. But we also have a dark moon on the 13th. So let's review that phase again to refresh our memory. Now we know the five main phases of the moon, right? New moon, waxing moon, full moon, waning moon, and dark moon. Now, dark is not bad. It's just a part of the journey, right? It's all about inward focus, shadow work, restrictive energy. It's about decreasing energy in the spirit world. Now, if you do hexes, the dark moon is the time for them. If you work with mediumship, dark moon is the time for it. If you work with Hecate, now is her time. It's all about the crone goddess phase. It's about honoring our ancestors and working with spirits. It's about removing bad habits. Did someone mention a caffeine addiction earlier? My timing is impeccable. It's about removing fears and asking for protection. Okay, let's add one more element into this. The eclipse happens on Saturday, but we all know energy comes in early and tends to linger afterwards. So I wanted to pull the eclipse energy just so we can have a full picture of everything that's happening, as, honestly, it really could affect how we are feeling and what we are doing. Now, on 10/14, on Saturday, we are having our annual solar eclipse. Now, this one's called the Ring of Fire. And technically speaking, this annual eclipse is, when the moon covers the center of the sun, dead on center. So the edge circle of the sun is showing, creating that ring of fire look, right? That image around the moon. Now, what does this mean to us? Us touchy-feely witches in the animal kingdom, because we all get affected. Well, solar eclipses will invoke new energy. Want to say hi to everybody? I have one of my little kittens here helping. Yes, you're such a helper. Thank you. Thank you for helping. See if everybody can hear your purrs. Got a good little motor? Kitties always distract me. Okay, I think I was mentioning that the solar eclipse is going to affect people with. It's definitely going to invoke new energy, new beginnings. It's about taking that first step towards a goal or vision. It really does invite abundance and growth. Now, the Ring of Fire element to this eclipse, we're going to add some additional energy to navigate through. Grab the energy before the eclipse, which is why I'm trying to, tying this into Friday a bit. As the energy is peaking for the eclipse, I would harness it. Connect it to your higher self or work with spirits. Be open to receiving messages. Manifest, manifest, manifest. Now is the time. Set your intentions, write down goals, and visualize them coming true. All right, well, that's the data. We have Fridays, we have the number 13, we have Freya, the dark moon, and a solar eclipse. So now what, right? Great, Charlene. That's awesome. What can we do with all of this energy? Well, to work with Friday energy in general, we can go back to that Friday episode, right? Our colors for Friday are going to be the pink, the green, aqua, teal, working, of course, with both the Libra and Taurus energies. Our elements for Fridays are both the air and earth. Stones and crystals are going to be our rose quartz, emerald, peridot, jade, coral, and garnet. Think of your pinks and your greens for your Friday, your Friday stones and crystals. Our herbs and plants for Friday are the pink rose, blossoms, strawberries, apple, and coltsfoot. Now, our metal for Friday is copper. To work with Friday energy in general, first I would be honoring Venus by wearing the color green, wearing copper jewelry, pinks, reds, anything in that Friday element as far as clothing and colors. Now, Venus is very shiny, so sparkly, shiny things will bring that energy to you as well. If you happen to do meditation or chakra work, Venus is associated with the throat chakra, which in a balanced sense would be the energy of honesty, truthfulness, and sincerity. Also, I would maybe try to pull and work with tarot cards. Specifically, grab the Empress, Hierophant, and Justice. The Empress will be about abundance, opportunities, newness, birth of a child maybe, or a special female figure in your life. It's about beauty and nature and being nurturing. The Hierophant will be your card for love, for sympathy and trust. It's usually a spiritual power card or one showing religion. Now, this card can also be used for marriage and passion. Now, the Justice card is Libra's card all in one, or I think it is. It's all about honesty, fairness, the law, justice, and balance. This card is about merciful karma. Now, if you've done wrong, maybe shown mercy, but will have to live with the consequences. Or if you yourself have experienced injustice, it will be rectified. Balance will be restored. Cause and effect are in play, and the fairest decision will be made. So to work with, the stones, it's certainly easy to think of love and the color pink, but really the color green is the predominant color for Fridays. Now, our stones and crystals, of course, are those emeralds, jade, rose quartz, peridot, and coral. You can also grab agate. For the love side of things, good things to do on Fridays, well, it's a love day, right? But it does not mean it's exclusive to romantic love. First and foremost, we need to love ourselves, always. But to celebrate loving yourself on Fridays, we'll put many good things in motion. It can also be family love, love of a friend, or maybe, the healing love, the healing type of love. It's a day of kindness, either way. Again, this can be for romance, but, kindness in general, which is perfect for family, friends, pets, in your home. So if we want to work with Freya specifically, set up your space for Freya, or a little space for her on your altar. This could be done with a picture of her, candles, incense, figurines, images of cats and a boar would be great. Fresh flowers, especially primrose, an offering bowl or a cup would be good. Offerings for Freya can, of course, include honey, apples, mead, and mugwort. She really is all about love and war, so things along that line are going to be good for her. Also, of course, working for or caring for cats. Cats are Freya's sacred animal. So if you can volunteer to shelter or help with the, trap, spay, neuter, and release programs close to you, or even by adopting a cat, you will be honoring Freya. Also, I would do maybe some rituals or spell work that involve Seder, the Seder magic. Seder magic? Oh my gosh. Sorry, I keep butchering that. The shape-shifting rituals and elven studies. Now, Seder, again, is that type of Norse magic that helps witches see and possibly affect the outcome of future events. Now, really, since Freya is the queen of magic, asking to work with her and watch over you as you do really any of your spell work would be good. But specifically, if you are looking to gain knowledge or, change the course of fate. Now, if you work with runes, you'll definitely be working with Freya. She is the master of the Elder Futhark runes, which is a Norse and Germanic alphabet used for divination. Now, even if you don't seek out to work with Freya directly, it is said that if a ladybug lands on you, she is calling you to work with her. And for that matter, bees are super important to Freya, as honey is sacred food for her. Now, if you have bees around you, that is a good sign. And providing plant life for them to live within your garden would be a great way to honor and work with her. And also, my favorite, moon magic. Freya might be the goddess of love and war, but she is also a moon deity, although she did not start out as one. So if you would like to connect with her on Fridays, or any day really, You can do so by doing moon magic and working with the phases of the moon. All right, things to do. What about Friday and work? Since this is our witchy work wishes, definitely beauty and glamour spells. If you're familiar with this already and are doing beauty spells on Fridays specifically, you already know the wonderful power it can have. Freya is glamorous. She loves beauty. For work, there are two ways to take this energy in on Fridays. Definitely, first would be beauty and glamour spells for getting ready, right? Grab a pink candle, dress it with some love oil, and light it when you are going to put your makeup on or get dressed and get yourself ready. Be very intentional with everything you put on your face, the perfume, the essential oils that you spray on your body, and the words that you're saying to yourself as you are getting ready for work. Second, of course, would be self-love after work when you get home. Freya is all about loving yourself and self-care, so it must be done before you can really give any type of love to others. Designing a complete pampering Friday night just for you is a perfect way to work with Freya and the Friday Venus day energy in the corporate world. If you work in the typical Monday through Friday work week, Fridays will hold other value to you in that it begins your own personal time away from your job. And self-care to center yourself, regenerate your energy, and reestablish your goals are so important on your days off. Glamour spells are all about bringing out our natural beauty, right? And glamour is something that we can hide behind. It's kind of like a veil protecting what is underneath it. So I say pamper yourself on Fridays. Whatever form that takes for you, do it. Again, back to our colors for incorporating work stuff into this. For Friday the 13th, go green, go pink even, wear copper jewelry, wear the stones and crystals of Friday and Venus, grab your roller ball of perfume or essential oil and draw Freya's runes on your body before you head out the door. They're not her runes, but the runes. I would also cut up fresh strawberries for your workday, lunch or snack, and have a bunch of fresh flowers at your desk to eat next to. And of course, make tea for Friday. Make a nice cup of maybe hibiscus tea. So I know Friday the 13th can be a superstitious day for some, but really before the patriarchal times, it was a day to worship the feminine and honor the cycles of creation, death, and rebirth. So on the contrary, I really feel it's an incredibly lucky day. It's a day of the goddess. The number 13 is tied to so many things, but for the feminine, we have those 13 feminine moons in our year. The number 13 in feminine energy is considered to be the number of death, rebirth, creation, fertility, and blood. Now, if you are already a Friday the 13th type witch, or maybe are just, learning more about the power with it, embrace it. Let's honor it this Friday. It is very, very powerful. It is inherently feminine, and it is so very tied to the moon. Now, me personally, this Friday, it's going to be a big day for me. And I'm going to be doing a bunch of manifesting, a bunch of spiritual work, and a bunch of protection work. So that's it. That's our Friday the 13th. I do have a poem for today, so let me grab that, and I will be right back. Well, this poem might be familiar as I wrote it back in February, but it's about Freya, so it is perfect for today's episode. And it goes. O beautiful goddess Freya, I see you. It's your wisdom and witchcraft I look to. You give me guidance and nudge me along and show me the balance of right and wrong. I call you today to bring forth your power and gift you a blossom of the primrose flower. I call you today to bring forth your love, as your Friday holds all I dream of. O goddess of love and goddess of war, with your faithful cats and steadfast boar, send me a sign that you see me too. Am I on the right path for what's starting new? I call you today and offer you honey. I honor the falcon, the horse, and the bunny. I smile with every ladybug I see, and I know your wisdom is guiding me. O goddess of warriors that fight so brave, pick me for your court and veneer one day. My candle is lit and my feathers are near. It is only your voice that I want to hear. O Freya goddess, I see you. I vow to always be faithful and true. Fearless and brave, I promise to be as I start my new life and claim the new me. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I am sending all of you very positive energy for your workings this weekend. I hope your Friday the 13th is amazing and your new moon eclipse energy on Saturday is just what you need. Be safe, and I'll talk with you next week. Thank you for joining me today at Witchy Work Wishes, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. For more information and additional content, please visit me online at witchyworkwishes.com. If you want to send me a personal note, please email me at info@witchyworkwishes.com. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Just search for Witchy Work Wishes.